Hi folks, so my name is Andrew Gilpin and I'm a brand new Dorico user. And I've been reading the forums and seeing people asking for maybe a video, maybe a manual, something like that. And I'm going through a pretty major project, retypesetting a piece that I wrote some years back. It's a choral piece. So it's got piano, choir, and soprano soloist. So it has a lot of the things that some people anyway, are wondering how to do on Dorico. That would be entering notes, entering dynamics, slurs, ties, cross staff notes, lyrics, that type of thing. So I figured I'd just combine some of my work with a little instructional video. It's going to be pretty rough and ready because I'm still learning the program too, but hopefully it'll help a few folks out there. So, as you can see, I've got a nice pink little halo around my cursor, so hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing when I click on things. And also down in the bottom left corner of the screen, you'll see if I hit a key, like for instance H, it will come up at the left corner of the screen, and it's not coming up. Okay. We've hit a snag already. Let's just see what the problem is here. All right, we are going to restart our little key press program. There we go. All right, so for instance, I just hit Control 1 to get to the setup screen, and you'll see Control 1 in the bottom left corner. Control 2 gets us to the right mode. If I press H to switch between marquee dragging, like so, or actually dragging the music around the screen, then you'll see an H in the bottom left corner. So hopefully that'll let you know a bit of what I'm doing as I talk and enter notes. I'm working on a PC running Windows 10, so sorry I cannot help out with Mac hotkeys, but you should be able to find most of that on the forum. And I'm entering notes with a MIDI keyboard because it's simply too slow using a computer keyboard, although of course it is possible to do that as well. Okay, so I've already got a couple of movements entered here, as you can see, but we're going to start on a brand new one. So we need to go into setup mode, so I'll hit Control 1, and there we have two flows. The one over on the left is movement 1, and over on the right is movement 2. So what we're going to do is add a new flow. So we'll click on the plus, and Dorico churns away for a few seconds, making us up a new flow. And we wait, and there we go. Why it says flow 2, I do not know. It's actually my third. So we will name it 7 because we're starting with the 7th movement. Nice bit of Latin here. Tu solus altissimus. And there we are. So with our full score layout clicked, I am going to deselect flow 1 and deselect flow 2, which means we are left with a nice clean screen here right at the beginning of movement 7. Okay, we can hit Control 2 to go back to right mode, and let's see, here we are. All right, this begins with piano introductions, so let's try that. Double click and we get the caret. So what I need to do first of all is set the correct time signature, which if I remember correctly, is Shift M for meter. There we go. Enter 3/4. Helpfully is the suggested meter there. And there we are, 3/4. All right, so this is actually a pickup bar, but I will not get into that now. I will just hit right arrow 4 times to get to the third beat. Then I will hit 5 to choose, as you can see in the upper left here, to choose the quaver or 8th note. And then I will enter the, no I won't, because I need to do this I'm thinking here, which staff should I do this on? There are a lot of cross staff notes here. So we need to do it all on one staff and then drop some of the notes down. All right, we will do it on the top staff. There we go. And we have very quickly run out of measures. So let's do Shift B for the bar tool and enter, say, plus 16. There we go. Lots of room to work now. All right, we still have the eighth note selected, which we got by pressing 5, and we are going to enter some more eighth notes. One problem I find is sometimes going too quickly because there is a delay between when you hit a note on the MIDI keyboard and when Dorico displays it. Apparently they will be fixing this in the first update. There we go. Alright, now we've got some notes in. I'm just going to hit escape to get out of write mode there and go back and see what we did. Now, in order to do cross staff notes, it's pretty easy. What you do is click on a note to select it and hit M, I believe, to drop it to the staff below. And that is what we want to happen. However, the staff below needs to be in treble clef, not the default bass clef. So we will double click on there. To display the caret, we will hit Shift C for the clef tool. And from my experimentation, looks like they make us type out the full name of the clef. Treble, hit enter, and there we have it. The bottom piano staff is changed to treble clef. That is looking better, but we have some more notes to do cross staff. So hit escape to get rid of the caret so we can select some notes here. Select that note and that note. Of course, I'm working from an already typeset piece of music here, so it's a little easier than working from a manuscript. Now I should tell you how I selected those two notes. I clicked on the first one, then I held down Control, and then I selected the second one. That's how you select multiple notes in Dorico. Then I press M again to do the cross staff trick. It's like magic. Then we can use the marquee tool to select 3 notes at once, then hold down Control and select the fourth. Press M again and we get our cross staff notes, which is what we want. And let me see, the next bar is this note and this note are cross staff. Now we will press, if you notice down at the bottom here, the marquee tool is selected. If you press H, it turns into the hand tool, which means we can left click and drag the music around the screen, which is a lot easier than going down here and choosing the scroll bar. So we'll go here and press H again to get back to the marquee tool down at the bottom right corner there. Now, where were we? Okay. These 3 notes and this note, cross staff, and this note. Hold down Control, click this note, and press M to drop them down below. Now you will notice that we have some rests that we don't want in there, so will I be able to get rid of them is the question. I think the first bar here will be the easiest because I need to put in actually a dotted half note for the left hand here so that that G holds right through the bar. So half note is, the shortcut key is 7, and then we hit period, so it is dotted, and then on our MIDI keyboard we will hit a G like so, and Dorico really does work magic sometimes. It actually moved the eighth note over as it should have. All right. Now what I just did there, if you use Control plus a left or right arrow key, the caret will jump forward or backward one bar, which is a really easy way of getting around your score when you're actually entering notes. So I hit Control right arrow, and there we are at bar 4, where there should be half note A. So we still have our we've pressed 7 and period, and we're going to get a dotted half note here. So I will hit A on the keyboard. There we go. Now I'm just going to pause things for 1 second here because I am not sure how to get rid of those rests here that I'm seeing. If I just drag the marquee around that rest, I do not want that rest for the left hand because both hands are obviously involved here. So 1 second, be right back. Okay folks, I'm back. After a quick search on the forum, some of you may already know this, but it seems that when doing cross-staff piano music, some of the rests in the other staff still appear when they shouldn't. But again, this is something they're working on. So one workaround I did find, since I do have this one G here in the left hand, the bottom stave, if we hit Control 8 and show properties and click down here on ends voice, that in fact gets rid of the rest in this bar right here. So that works, which is good. Then I tried the same thing because we have this A here. So as you can see, I've already got ends voice selected, and that does absolutely nothing for the rests in the next couple of bars, which doesn't make sense. But again, Dorico does have a few bugs because it's brand new software. So that's basically how to enter notes and cross-staff, some cross-staff work there. I won't continue with the rest of the piano introduction, but what we should do is pop up to the soprano solo line, which is at the top here, and try entering some vocal notes. So again, we'll hit right arrow 4 times, press 6 to make sure that quarter note is selected, and then start entering some notes from our MIDI keyboard. And for some reason that did not enter a note. Okay, let's try that again. We'll double click and space over, and then we will because rest is still chosen. Now if you need to enter a rest, and this is something I haven't covered yet, the comma key will toggle the rest on and off, and that works in concert with the duration keys. So obviously if quarter note is selected and you press comma to turn rest on, then you will instead get a quarter rest, which is what happened to me by accident. So I will turn off the rest here, and hopefully we'll see a quarter note, and we do. Okay, so the next note is a dotted half, so that will be 7 plus period is a dotted half. 6 back to a quarter note, and then we in fact do need a quarter rest. Now at this point you have two options. You can press comma to turn on the rest key, and then hit any note on your keyboard like so, which will move the caret over effectively to that to the next beat, or Control Z will undo that. You can simply use right arrow twice to move over, and Dorico will preserve the rest. So whichever way is more convenient for you. Let's hit comma to turn rests off again, enter another quarter note, 7 and period to choose dotted half. There we go, dotted half, 6 to choose a quarter. This time I will use the arrow key, another quarter note, 2 more quarter notes. Now we'll hit 5 to change to 8ths. Now, let me just backspace. I want to try something. We have an A, and which I want slurred to the next note. So let's press S. There we go. Turns on the slur option. And I will hit the B. And there we go. They're slurred together. Now, that works well. I want to turn off the slur option, which should be S again. But for some reason, it's not. If we click it, does it turn off? No, it simply turns on. Okay, escape to get rid of the caret. Double click again, and we still want 8th notes, so I will hit 5. Need to enter some more 8ths. I'll start with this one. Now these 8ths, the next 2.5 bars worth should all be slurred, so I will turn on the slur, enter the rest of the notes. 6 and period to choose a dotted quarter. And this is something that will sometimes happen in Dorico that you may not want. I'm going to hit Control-Z to undo that. Now, correctly in 3/4 time, of course, you would not have a dotted quarter note because it goes over the beat boundary. However, especially in modern music, that's an old rule that's not really applied anymore. Now, I instead wanted a dotted quarter there, and I wanted it to show up as a dotted quarter. So what we need to do is turn on forced durations. Yes, forced duration, which is, the hotkey is O, so I will press O to turn on forced duration. Make sure dotted quarter is still chosen, and there we are. We get a dotted quarter. It does not change it to a quarter tied to an 8th. Then I will turn off forced duration, go back to 8th note, which is 5, and enter the rest of my notes. Notice they're still slurred, which is what I want. Now, I want to turn off the slur, but apparently I cannot hit S again to do that. That may be a mistake of mine or a bug, I'm not sure. So I will hit escape and get the caret back here. Quarter note is chosen, and there we are. That is the end of the phrase. So I will press escape to get out of that. H gives me the hand tool so I can scroll back. Now, one thing we have not covered is entering lyrics. And it could not be easier, I must say, so much easier than in Finale, which was my program of choice for the past many years. We first of all click on the note where we want the lyric to start, and then type Shift L for the lyric tool. Now, these lyrics are all in Latin, so they look strange to some of us, but then a space will move us to the next note. So now I want to be hyphenated. So this is the first syllable. Then we hit the hyphen key, which moves us to the next note, and we type the second syllable. And as you can see, Dorico adds that nice little hyphen there between the 2 syllables. I then hit space, so we're at a quarter note again. Back to 2, so hyphen loose. You'll probably see a pattern here in the lyrics. Back to 2, then so hyphen loose, then all, A-L, hyphen. Now this is a tricky one because it's 1 syllable, but it goes over 2 notes. So you need to type a hyphen directly after the syllable to make sure that Dorico will connect it to the next word, but then you need to type a space to get to the following note, if that's the way your syllables match up. Then tis, and then a hyphen because we're still in the same word, and then many, 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 many spaces, huge long melisma here. And finally, we get to S-I hyphen M-U-S, comma, and then a space, and that is it for our notes. So Dorico closes the lyric tool automatically, and we can click anywhere to deselect that last syllable. So that is how you enter lyrics. I won't get into verses because this piece only has one verse. It's a classical piece, so that doesn't apply for this. Let me see what else I can do here. So I think for the end of this video, because this is probably long enough for the first one in any case, I'll just cover some of the other keyboard shortcuts and a few quick other things that you can do that I've discovered so far. They've set up the keyboard shortcuts actually quite nicely, and that is wonderful for me personally, because I really hate clicking things with my mouse if I can do it with the keyboard, because it's almost always faster. So you'll notice the properties bar here at the bottom is right now it says common. If you click a note, you get all sorts of other options there across the bottom underneath the music. However, it kind of cramps the music window at times, so Control 8 will turn that on and off, as you can see quite easily. Across the top, setup, write, engrave, play, and print, you can see they actually tell you the shortcuts, which is really helpful. Control 1 gets you to setup, Control 2 back to write, Control 3 is engrave, Control 4 is play, and Control 5, of course, is the print screen. So back to Control 2 here for writing. One thing a few people have asked about is respelling notes, because Dorico seems to be particularly bad sometimes at predicting which note you want, even if you're in the appropriate key. So we'll just try entering, for instance, a B flat here. Now that's fine if we want a B flat, but while the note is selected, you can hit Alt minus to respell it to the its enharmonic equivalent, which in this case would be an A sharp, and Alt equal, or Alt plus if you see it that way, back to the B flat, and Alt plus gives us a C double flat. So you have all those different options. While the note is selected, that is orange, and when something is orange in Dorico, that means it is selected. Okay, what else can we do here? One thing in engrave mode, which is Control 3, that has been particularly tricky to figure out is fitting systems on a page, or fitting bars in a system. Now that has it certainly confused me when I was first doing this, so it's not actually that difficult once you know how. So if you want to fit a certain number of bars in a system, you click the first note you want in the system, hold down Control, and click the last note. Now over here we have the option Make into System, pretty self-explanatory. Click that, and there we go. We have the 4 bars that we wanted, and they're locked into this particular system. Now, then we get this little flag up here that says System Break, just to let us know that in fact this music is not arranged the way Dorico would do it itself. We've imposed that on it. So if you need to undo that, it's quite easy. Just click on the System Break, hit delete, and it's gone. And there's one over at the right that we will need to delete as well. And there we are, back. The music's back to the way it was. So I think that is it for this video. That covers a lot of the basics. Rests, ties. Oh, there is one thing I forgot. If you would like to beam things a different way, that's also not too difficult. I'll just enter some eighth notes here. Let's see. Now that's fine if you want the notes all beamed under one beam. Now if you select them and press B, Dorico, my mistake, Dorico will not. Right click and do beam together. Now there you go. Now unfortunately, if you wanted the beamed in two groups of three, you will now have to select this group of three and right click again and do beam together. Now again, as I said before, I really hate clicking on things when I can use the keyboard. So you may have noticed when I right clicked, next to beam together, it said Control B. Now this is not the default shortcut that comes with Dorico. So what I had to do was I had to go to Edit, and I had to go to Preferences, and then I had to go to Key Commands. In the search box, I believe I typed beam. There we are. Edit, beam together. Now, this box up here where it says Control B was empty before, so if I do remove key command, that's what it looked like. So in new key command, I hit Control B, there it is, and then I clicked add key command, and there you go. That means that Control B is now associated with beam together. So you can select two notes, do Control B, and there they are, beam together. Select these four notes, Control B, beam together. And as you could see from those preferences, I should take my own advice. I see Control comma is preferences, so that's a useful key command to know. Pretty much anything that you can do from Dorico's menus can be assigned a key command. As you can see, there are a pretty astounding number of options here, and most of them do not have any shortcuts assigned. So if you find yourself going to the menus a lot and clicking, then you may want to assign a key command to one of these. So that is it for today. I hope this has been helpful, and hopefully I will be back again as I typeset more of this piece of mine. Thanks for listening.